I'm shaking with the energy. I had this the other day. It's like, it's almost, yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Well, excellent. We are recording. So uh, this is Tammy. Tammy, would you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm, I guess, a spiritual teacher, but I'm here to help people on their path of awakening, from the very base levels up to the higher reach. So I work with Metatron frequency, as you know, and I don't like to big myself up because it's just the kind of person I am. But yeah, we work with some profound frequencies, so we help people through the foundation of light to experience source in all its magnificence. So, and lots of different things involved in that. But yeah, I guess you class me as a spiritual teacher for this kind of new age that we're in. That's me.
Beautiful. And I'm Danny. I love inspiring people through my own joy and experiences, and really living from a truthful space and integrating and finding new tools in order to help people expand in their own realities, so we can actually help create these beautiful ripple effects of positivity and change throughout our little beautiful world here. So we wanted to, and I'm based in Portland, Oregon. Tammy is in Yorkshire in the UK. And so we wanted to make this video. We wanted to have a nice little chat and just talk about a little bit about the current energies and what's going on. But also, there's been a lot of, real big expansive energies, lots of light becoming aware into people's consciousness, which I've noticed, is throwing people off a bit. And so we probably want to talk about that. How can we help people to become centered? When we talk about source, we are talking about everything, all of consciousness within all of creation. We're not just talking about one lineage. We're talking about everything. So, and, but there's a lot of new changes coming in. And even in my own life, I'll notice that things will shift so quickly, and my brain goes, wait, what just happened? What just happened? And then I have to, I'm then trying to find new ways to, oh, wait, I'm supposed to upgrade that much and change my beliefs up that much to meet this new, area of expansion. And so it's kind of like, oh, I'm on this ladder. And what used to work for me even last week is totally different this week. So it's been, and I'm quite aware to these things. So, and I work with all these tools and trying to figure, so I'm really going, okay, oh, wow, I'm supposed to aim that high. Oh, I'm supposed to aim that. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. This isn't working because this used to work a month ago, but now it's totally obsolete. So, but having that awareness, but, how can we help people navigate these things when they're still holding on to different fear-based realities? How do we assist people in moving through fear-based realities into a state of knowing that you can be in a state of peace within your mind, within your heart, within your entire being? And, knowing that that is possible, when I tell people, I oftentimes don't, well, a month ago was different. I had a whole lot of thoughts because I was thinking less of myself than I actually was. And so I had to shift that real quick because it's uncomfortable. Your body creates that physical sensation, which sucks. No need to sugarcoat it. So, in terms of, how do we assist people in believing in themselves? And you mentioned in one of your videos that I was watching the other day, you did mention judgment. And I think this is, a good thing to kind of start off with, possibly, in terms of there's so many different physical sensations that the bodies are experiencing during these upgrades. So it causes people to go into the belief system of what they've been so comfortable with believing, is that I'm not good enough. And when what we really want to do, and with a lot of what I'm really focusing on in my own life, is realizing that we are good enough. How do I teach and educate and inspire other people to know that they are also good enough? So, Tammy, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think judgment is a big one, but I'm going to say people judge themselves, and sometimes they don't realize that they're doing it, and they judge themselves, and they keep themselves in this container. And what's happening is we're breaking the shell of that container and becoming this empty vessel. People will argue about the word vessel, but I use the word vessel to mean something that holds the light. So if we're judging ourselves, then we're not opening ourselves to the vastness of our being. And so I think first and foremost, we have to look at not just the aspects of we might judge others, because everybody does this, but how we judge ourselves within our own sort of consciousness. And these barriers are breaking down. You know, you talked earlier about something that worked last week's not working now because you're trusting and you're moving up and you're being placed in your proper sort of light threshold where that's where you're meant to be. But if we keep ourselves down here in the thought process, we're never going to expand and open to the beautiful essence that we are. You know, I know you know what I'm going to say when I talk about when you're unawakened, you only think you're that which you are at that unawakened point. But actually, when you start to awaken and open and expand, you become exactly who you are. If I hadn't have sort of awakened, I'd still be sat in an office looking out at the stars going, there must be something. But I listened to that divine intelligence, if you like, that said, right, this is not where you're meant to be anymore. We're going to shift you and you have to move. And yeah, some people might say, I'm just going to stay in the office. I was always, from a small child, wanting to reach the stars and knew there was something else there. And I just think there's some beautiful people coming together to create a new beginning, a new state of being, a new conscious evolution for humanity. Because we've all got very similar stories. We're experiencing similar vibrational journeys, which helps other people. So if we can expand and help other people, then yeah, but judgment's a big one. I kind of went off track a bit there, but judgment, start with of the self. How are you holding yourself? What are your belief systems? Where's your container? Where's it at? Break free. And we give them the tools to help them to do this, but ultimately it's source that is directing, orchestrating this shift. Otherwise we remain unawakened. We can choose to remain how we are, or we can choose to experience all that we are. So yeah, I choose the latter. You know, I choose to experience all that I am and be able to help other people. But judgment and consciousness are big things, and breaking free of this perceived reality that is actually, you know, people talk about the holographic universe. I believe that to an extent where we can create and make things, Danny. I know you know this, but if we stay in this fixed place, then we're not opening to the fullness of our being. It's magical alchemy at the moment. Magical stuff.
My favorite word, alchemy.
Well, we're transmuting, we're alchemizing, if that's such a word. We are able to not just be that person that's sat on the computer thinking, I wish. We're actually like, you know what, I'm going to lose that 26 grand a month, and I'm just going to say, hey, I want to go and be what I'm sensing is where I'm meant to be. And this, behind this desk typing, is not, I could never be kept into 9 to 5. It just did not work within my vibrational system because it was too harnessed, it was too controlled. And I look back now 10 years and think, wow, I honor myself for taking that leap of faith.
Yeah. Can I ask, what were you doing before you started all of this work?
I had 20 years as a PA, sort of high Ministry of Defence. high sort of executive personal assistants to like colonels and brigadiers and officers and recruiting soldiers and stuff. I love that in my awakened state. Yeah, that was everything. But then I reached a point, and, you know, going back a bit, you were talking about, I was doing something that's no longer working. Suddenly, I was aware of a different place that I could be. And then it became apparent that, no, this really is, we're going to be shifting you somewhere else. So that worked when I was unawakened, if you like. Maybe unawakened's not the correct descriptive word. Maybe it's, I was kind of asleep, and then suddenly I woke up to, a certain point in my life, it was necessary for me to be moved into what I'm doing now. So we all have different paths. So I was never going to be stuck behind that desk. It was all part and relevant of that journey for me. But because I listened to this, whatever this consciousness is, this magnificent voice, like, and it was very, very, it wasn't my own voice. You know, people talk about, is it your own? This wasn't me. This was some beautiful, well, source. Now I now understand as being source guiding me and shifting me. And yeah, it was quite a profound journey. But it was very much, do I need to go and take some medication or something? Or do I need to go and find another? No, this was a completely breaking down of what you perceive as is exactly where you need to be into, no, we've got, wow, awesome.
Well, and for myself, I was busy drinking every night, a bottle of whiskey in hand and waiting tables. And, you know, and that was just not sustainable. But, you know, in my, you know, as a teen, I was always reading, I was always fascinated by self-help books, and I was always fascinated by philosophy and metaphysics. And, you know, I was the guy doing track meets who would set up altars and burning sage in high school. And I was always made fun of asking people what their signs were. And then, you know, when I had like a come to reality moment after I realized I had driven home completely tossed drunk. And that's when I heard that voice. The next morning, I didn't realize that I had driven home. And this voice said, look at how many times we've protected you.
Yeah.
And it was in that instance where I was like, wow, miracles exist.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at how many other miracles existed. And what if I were able to expand, like, you know, affecting people in a positive way rather than a negative way? And what if I can create that inspiration of miracles in other people's lives? Wow. And nothing scared me more than anything, because it felt so truthful. It was, you know, as Marianne Williamson talks about, you know, that fear of, you know, tapping into your power. And, you know, here you're confronted with, wait, what? Is this everything just lining up? Like,
Yeah.
and all I have to do is put one foot in front of the other. And, you know, and then of course, and so that's where it's all kind of started for myself too. But and I think there's a lot of people who have been really tapping into, starting the work and being called to service and listening to that. And they're dabbling, but there's still some people that are just, it's a lot of, but something's just holding me back. And And
Yeah.
I find it comes back to a lot of self-worth stuff. And, and but when we look at all these different things that are causing, us to stay in a certain place, I find that there are basically three main foundations that I've had to personally come to in order to work on over and over and over and over again to assist me in doing that. And that is self-worth. How do I discover that I'm worthy of things greater than I could ever imagine? Or even just paying rent on time. or even just
moving on.
Yeah, I know, moving on. But also clearing, forgiveness. Many people don't know how to let go of these different programs and how to move past them and how to rewrite their stories and how to, so the integration of those two things in its own creates a clarity, but then also adding that, okay, beyond, self-worth, like I can actually do things that allow me to practice loving myself more, actually taking it into action. Like, how does that show up in my life? And so a lot of people that I interact with and I see, a lot of people are they're, stuck in bad relationships, but they're doing the work. They're energy healers, but they're stuck in bad relationships. Or even doctors and psychotherapists and whatnot, they are coming to me asking, I want to learn how to love myself more, because we weren't taught that. We were taught to ignore all these things. So it really doesn't matter where anybody is. It's just that the container that was of perfect resonance for a while, those things, everything's shifting. And this is actually going into, the energies of Metatron, and in terms of accessing your potential, stepping into your power and really, really accelerating that. I'd love
I think sorry, I interrupt you. Sorry, Danny. I think going back a little moment, if I may, the one outshining aspect of my journey up to this point has been this energy that has just guided me and given me empowerment, but it's not from my own persona, if you like. It's been this, it's not even external, it's something that has guided me on that. Here's a piece of the jigsaw, take it. You must have the next piece of the jigsaw. Well done, you've taken it. And then suddenly you've got all these beautiful jigsaw pieces that you've put into place, and it feels really wonderful because suddenly you're getting somewhere. And I think a lot of humans right now are realizing that they have so much more potential within their own being. And even if we're talking about the medical field, the technological field, all these different aspects that make up humanity and the functions of humanity are waking up to this presence, this element of, whether you want to call it quantum or whatever, I just call it source, that is actually trying to get in to help us, not only just from healing or becoming attuned to be a healer or helping therapist or doing this, that. It's bigger. There's something bigger. There's a divine plan and order at play here, that our consciousness is awakening, not only to, hey, there's new stuff we can do to fix ourselves or heal or help others, but let's move this now into the different industries. We're alive in a very amazing time. Totally amazing. So yeah, we can help people from many different walks of life, but ultimately there is, I firmly believe, a particular point in time where this has to be as it is right now. Yeah, maybe gone off track, but
no, it's
we're in a amazing point of humanity right now, especially towards our, not only the conscious evolution, but how this, you hear about people saying the veil's getting really thin. It's totally gone. There is no veil. It is so tangible, this frequency, this love, this creative energy. Yeah, you can feel it.
Well, and what I've been really working on is really focusing on that heart-centered reality. Within this awakening process, we are moving from the head down into our hearts. And what I've noticed is that a lot of what causes a lot of the analyzations, a lot of that is that deep programming of that we are not enough. And so coming into, how do we allow people's minds to go, okay, this isn't important right now. This can be a support system for here. And to know that that's kind of the new way of doing things. So if I want to feel love, if I want to experience more love, as those jigsaw puzzles fall into place, you start accessing more of your potential through your heart and your ability to love yourself and inspire yourself in overcoming these different obstacles. And, you know, it's, I've personally been toying with, you know, working on amplifying the electromagnetic field of my heart. And, you know, I've been fully, you know, in this space, and it's, you know, in terms of the judgment thing that we were talking about earlier, the judgment goes away when I'm allowed to love more. The analyzation halts when I love more. So how can we love more? Well, if we keep doing things that causes us to go back to these old belief systems of shame and guilt and all that stuff, then we're just going to be perpetuating all that. So we actually have to step up, put on our big boy clothes, big girl clothes, and be that energy. This is all integrated with the process of manifestation and law of attraction. It's all everything. But when we start allowing ourselves to stretch, amplify, and actually allow ourselves to be all that we have ever wanted to be, and know that it's okay, it's safe to do that. And that's a tricky thing also, is that often we don't like taking that step because we fear that old challenges of past are going to be recreated.
This old little button is coming, but you know, maybe you got to break that shell.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. This is why we shape times when we're working with energy. Just to go back a moment, if I might, Danny.
Yeah.
I came across it, the Esther Hicks Abraham. Beautiful, beautiful. I love all that. Said that something about focus on your own stuff, not to be involved in other people's stuff. And I think it's really important, if we just focus on our own being and not sort of cast judgment or get involved in what other people, I think the world would change just from that simple dynamic of just focus on your own being, you know. Yeah. Don't involve yourself in I'm talking about a day-to-day sort of that density frequency stuff. Look after you, you know. Let everybody else look after their own information and stuff they're going through, and just focus on, and that's where love comes in, because as you were saying, we amplify in the heart. When that love comes through, that real love, that source love, it's not bothered with the density and the lower frequency stuff, because it doesn't find home there. It doesn't resonate from there. Mm-hmm. It's not pumping from there. That's not what feeds it. It's all the harmonious emotions that we know of, the joy, the ways of being, is what pumps the heart. So humanity has to come up and shift. It totally has to.
Well, and you know, watching, you know, now I'm going to get all scientific a little bit. But what's really, really cool is watching what the sun is doing, what the magnetic poles are doing on the earth, and all of these different things that are going into the collective evolution of what people are experiencing. I love researching this and watching what's going on, because, you know, the sun is doing some interesting things now. The earth is doing some very interesting things, and we are a part of it. And what the outcome of that is, you know, to really, like, we are really kind of being forced to get on that roller coaster that will lead you to, like, your freedom and expansion. And Absolutely. it's like you're in the line about to get on the roller coaster, and a lot of people are going, I don't want to get, but you're already in the line and you're about to get up to the gate and you have no choice. And it's like, okay, I'm here. And then one of your favorite terms that I know you talk about it endlessly is surrender. You know, where all these different belief systems, the systems that were once a part of our reality, are no longer, they're obsolete. So if we look at what is obsolete, then the next phase would be what is solete. Not solete, but what is what's appropriate? What's I was asleep during that class, sorry.
Oh, I love new words. I love we can make up new words. You know, so
we
make
put,
the
you know, so, but yeah,
but going back a moment, interrupting you, sorry. I
yeah,
always sense the vessel as organic. So of course, you know, early astronomers must have had a wonderful time, but as you're saying, and it's spot on that. Of course, if the vessel is organic, we're gonna be tuning into these planetary movements, and the more we're awakening to it, even into the magnetism, which I guess is what you're referring to, people are waking up to that. We're not just this physical vessel. We have to understand that it goes deeper. Treat yourself like a rose, you know, water and take care and bloom and love, and know that you're connected into all that's occurring. You know, we are on this amazing evolutionary path, and it's so exciting.
yeah.
So totally exciting. I wish Einstein was here now, though, because I think I look back at a lot of this stuff, you know, from 1920s, Max Planck, all the other wonderful guys, Einstein, all these wonderful, forgotten some of the names, excuse me, but you read back at what they were talking about, quantum stuff. I think I was looking back at this last week, because some of it can be quite heavy, but it's fascinating because you're going back nearly 100 years and they're discussing aspects of what we're experiencing now as quantum. So it's only now we're really understanding what people were writing about 100 years ago. So I find human beings and their nature fascinating, but sometimes we have to go back. I know you just came back from Egypt, which, going off track slightly, if I may, to follow your journey there was just, you went to places people will never get to go. So the way you sort of showed us, I'm so grateful for that, because the ancient stuff is what fuels my vessel, you know, the ancient knowledge. And I'm sure those people in those days were feeling what we're feeling now, yet they interpreted it the best way they could at the time. And I don't think time will ever change in that instance of what are we understanding about the light. Yeah, I find it magical. I wanted to thank you for the Egyptian stuff, because it was, yeah, mind-blowing.
It was, you know, and even, you know, just being at some of those locations and having some of the different sensations, you know, I'm a very feely person. And now often what I feel is just different frequencies. I don't necessarily feel other people's pain or anything like that. So when I was like at the Temple of Saqqara, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, we went into the Serapeum, where they have 12 80-ton sarcophaguses. They're 80 tons.
Sarcophagi.
Sarcophagus. But they're made purely of granite with hieroglyphs, and even the lids of them are 30 tons apiece. But you walk into this chamber, and the heat in there, you don't hear people talk about this, but you go into these places and it's 108 degrees Fahrenheit in these places that are, you know, 30 feet under the surface of the earth, with these things in there. And you're just like, my body was just, you know, it was like the intensity of being in a sauna. But what, you know, I knew that was kind of happening was I was absorbing a lot of information. I was integrating and reintegrating a lot of information, because there's so much familiarity to these different venues. And I'm going to tie this around to, you know, what we're kind of talking about in a moment. But also, you know, like being in the Great Pyramid on Christmas Day.
Wow.
I don't know if I shared that with you, but yeah, we were in the Great Pyramid on Christmas Day, and the energy in there, you know, and me knowing that you know, like it was such a surreal experience, But one of the most magical things was when we were in the King's Chamber. There was myself and two others in the King's Chamber. There's just a huge open room, and there's a hollowed out sarcophagus type box thing, and you look straight up and you know that that's directly the point. And so we laid down, each of us took turns laying down on the ground on our backs, and just I opened up my heart, and it's the different things that I sensed and saw, but it was more like an activation for me. It was really allowing, and people weren't traditionally, this was not why the pyramids were built, for people to go in. But
now you've started something. You're going to get people going in there.
But I just started singing. And I'm not usually a person that sings. Not in that vocal way, but in terms of something just said, allow your voice to do what it wants. Allow your voice to do what it wants, to be completely unrestricted, to be completely freeing. And the sounds that echoed throughout that chamber as I was doing this were just so unworldly. And it was like goosebumps a mile high right now just talking about it. And but realizing that, in that moment, what I was really doing was allowing myself to break free of a lot of these limitations, a lot of, these different programs, but also allowing myself to really expand into the wholeness and to connect with a lot of the integrated energies that are worldwide on that collective scale. So it was and
your body wanted to sing. I'm just sensing your body wanted to sing. It's harmony, and that's a very beautiful experience for you.
Well, and it was, about the reverberation actually feeding back into the cells of my body too. It was just like, so of course when I got back from Egypt, everything shifted.
You made a record?
Yes, just like, well, no, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say something. But
beautiful experience. I mean, it's such a beautiful experience.
And, a big reason why I kind of went into this is, to know that I want to kind of slip in here that everybody has different abilities. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has information, kept inside of them. And what we get to explore in this lifetime is how do we integrate that old technology within ourselves? How do we integrate that with our new expressions of what our human design is really all about? How do we integrate that into creating something so magnificent while overcoming these barriers, these different challenges? Sure, we went through these scenarios in the past, and we can continue to recreate those if we'd like. Or we can, again, pull up our big boy pants and go, okay, I need to do something different because enough is enough. And a lot of people, are getting to that stage of, how do I do this? They're hungry for the information. And it's only increasing more and more and more. But as we go through these different things and dissolve these different patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us, we move right into here, and we become more, I should say this differently. We're already here. It just becomes more aware to us.
Well, it's interesting because I'll just briefly throw this one out there. I had two men in my life. If I might be a bit personal here, my father, poor man, passed away when he was 54, but he was never really connected to his heart. He was very disciplined, military, and he died of a heart attack. I'm getting to where I'm going to go. My stepfather, similar, although very different people, wasn't connected to his heart, because I think in some generations they weren't allowed to experience all they were because of conditioning. And my stepfather died from heart-related issues as well as some other stuff. But again, there was heart stuff. And it made me realize that people really need to experience the love in their hearts, you know?
Yeah.
Like with you singing in that temple, that beautiful, the pyramid, how freeing is that you were able to just be free within your vessel. And I firmly believe, Danny, I've come across it so many times, worked with a lot of people, and some of them, without breaking confidences, won't allow their own beauty to shine through, because whether it's self-worth, whether they don't want to see it, or whether they just don't believe that love is contained within them. So when you start to free yourself, I know you know what I'm talking about, when you love yourself, then you're able to love others freely, you know. It's the human being holds itself, it's so tightly. It's breaking down that I don't know why I'm getting the word inhibition. I don't know why that's coming in, but we have this ability to close ourselves off even from our own selves. And you've got to let the world see your beauty, but first see it within your own being. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to see that. What are you afraid of? It's Absolutely. Love.
Well,
it's magic.
The mind is what is pinching us off from that access. you know.
I've worked with people, and you've got 12 weeks into a course and they're doing great, and then suddenly they go back to week 1 and it's like, oh, you were so close. I can't take them there. I can guide and assist, but it's like, wow, you retracted back. Oh, you were so close from this dynamic that I can't even explain to you, but you chose to feel at home in what you already know. And sometimes we've got to, again, that word surrender. We're not losing anything because you're surrendering. You're actually going to gain. But there's very personal keys, and they're not mysterious keys to Ascension, but they're very personal in that the individual has to experience that for themselves. I know you teach aspects of this. I certainly do. Other people teach aspects of this, but you can only take a person to the point where they then have to do some of this work themselves.
Yeah.
No. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to help and assist, but ultimately people have to know that love. You know, love creates a lot of stuff. Love, you talk about manifestation. You're not going to create from a place that's dense or encapsulated in this closed off vessel. It's like the universe wants to provide for you, and love is the alchemy. You know, love is the key, the essence of transformation and realization, and all those magical words we hear.
Absolutely.
But you're not going to do it from, if you want to stay there and think you're going to ascend, if we put it like ascend, no, there you've got to, I use the term come up to the plate vibrationally. Yeah. But people try and do it from there where the same things are going on. No. Is it uncomfortable? Yeah, of course it's uncomfortable to go out of what you know, like having a home and suddenly saying that home is gone now, it's frightening, but you know, it's liberating. It's so liberating to be able to allow yourself to wake up and know who you truly are.
Yeah.
It's very liberating.
Absolutely. And that, you know, there's a part of the liberation that was extremely helpful for me was, and I'm mentioning this because a lot of people need to know this, is that I had to embrace this reality as the reality I chose to be a part of. This is the reality I chose to be a part of. It is what my soul manifested. It's what was all a part of even the money, the political systems, all of it. This is the life I chose to be a part of. And I've noticed that a lot of people are having a really hard time accepting this reality as being the one that they chose, or or a lot of people are saying, why am I here? Why am I here? And you're here to embrace this. And so you can be liberated in that aspect to embrace money, to embrace the chaos, to make love to the chaos, so you can create a different energy other than what already exists. So we can expand that. But it's really hard, and I've noticed that there's, a lot of people going through the awakening process. A lot of people are doing it for a different reason. And that reason is because they don't want to be here. And that's not really the right reason to do it.
No.
And it's not going to get you to, that point. But that love and harmonious acceptance, that forgiveness, that letting go, that clearing of all those different things by releasing that anger, by transmuting it and shifting it and allowing yourself to become more embodied within this human vessel, to know that you are good enough to be a part of this life, that the universe trusts you to be here, to be the loving individual that your potential is actually allowing you to do, if you just allow yourself to be liberated from your mind, and to know that you can use your mind as that tool to go, hey, what used to work for me is kind of feeling limited right now. And I'm personally in that space where I'm going, do I sell everything, pack my bags, and just travel and expand and go wherever I want? Because that's really what and I know that's kind of what I need to do. But also I want to create a reality where I still have a home. I know they say the home is where the heart is, and that's great. But I like having a nest too. So if I'm traveling for a month or 3 weeks, I can come back and, so I'm going through these different things, because I love my home here. But here's this big expansion. I feel that it's also a limitation in me not meeting the people that I need to be meeting right now. And so, Facebook and social networking can do so much, but I know that, there's a lot of us who are doing the work there and doing the work that big shift, really occurs when we're out and about meeting people face to face and giving
Absolutely.
hugs and sharing our radiance with people in physical. It's real easy being sensitive to go, I'm just going to hang out at home. It's just another.
I mean, I think you are an alchemist, so you can. It's knowing your power in a good way, because people can use power in bad ways, as we know. But we have the amazing ability to create. Source guides us, but also it wants us to sort of understand that we're able also to, from within our own being, that power, that fire. What is it you want? What is it you want? What I'm not great at is saying, well, I want this. I never really do that. I just sort of let it come to me, which is probably 80% of what it is. But there's probably 20% whereas, well, what do you want? What? So it's like, well, actually, yeah, I'd like a new car, or I'd like to go and see my friend in California, or I'm going to ask, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. Well,
we can put those things in motion, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's, and that was a big part of even going to Egypt, is because I was helping so many other people live happy lives and tap into their happiness, that I was forgetting to ask myself, what do I want?
Absolutely.
And so that's why I'm like, I'm going to Egypt.
What we're able to tap into is absolutely phenomenal. But if I may go back to this beautiful soul I was working with last year, and we worked together for a while, and she got to the final couple of weeks of she was on the threshold, but then she wanted to go back where it was safe. And then she wanted to go and go for glamours and something that sounded more exciting, that could give her. And it's not, there's got to be work we have to do ourselves, Danny, because we're going through our own alchemy, a divine process. And so no one's going to suddenly come and say to you, there you go, you're ascended. It doesn't work like that. There has to be work.
It doesn't?
This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's not gonna. It's a human process of evolution, of conscious evolution, and I think we're in. Some people get scared when they come and work with me because they know there's no turning back. I know you work. Do I really want to tap on the door? Well, don't be afraid, because I'm just a conduit. We conduits to assist this divine process. This is between the person and source. So I think a lot of people need to learn about this connection they have with source, which lies above any human physical manifestation. It's this energy that's going to support you, and not many people trust in that because they want something physical they can see, like a book or a program, or actually, we're working in a higher place. This is a higher this is above the senses here. So yeah. I love what I do. I just want to throw that out. I love, like you just said,
I
working
love what
with
you do too.
Great. I love working with people. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful people that you meet.
And I think that, you and I share that with, it's, a lot of the people that do come to me are the people that are like, they've tried everything else, nothing else is working, like, and I'm kind of a no bullshit type of person. And I know you're that way too. And there's there's some power in that. And if I were to meet me, and I was somebody else 10 years ago meeting me now, I'd probably run to the hills because of how, it's, I think what it comes back is that truth and just honoring who we are, but also embodying that. I don't want this, I feel like now I'm getting in my head. See, that's a good example of what happens when you get in your head.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. It's what makes you stumble on your words and on the stage.
Don't do live video. Do it.
Go back to your heart. Danny, come back. There's a diamond in here. Okay. But in terms of, just the radiance, oftentimes and this is probably a good segue of realizing that if there is resistance, if there is fear, that probably means you should do it.
Absolutely. The amount of people I have recoil back. It's not you haven't got anything to hide. No one has anything to hide in relation to how source is going to help them on. We don't need to look at the itsy bitsy things. It's a vibrational journey, it's about you uncovering the beautiful essence that you are. But I have people recoil back. They're like, no, it felt really uncomfortable, and it's a place that like took my breath away. And it's like, go with it. Sounds bizarre, doesn't it? It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's so transformational. But you step into the fire, it's going to transform. So we're not playing about it.
And I had this big revelation the other day that I'd love to share with you. And I was kind of tapping into how is it that all these different healers, how is it that they're able to heal? How is it that all these things are connected in terms of, say, Reiki or any other form of energy healing, or John of God, or say Christ even.
Not John of God.
Well, I know, sorry, or whatever. Sorry, I know. So, I don't know. You know what I mean? So,
moving on.
In terms of, different healers or different people that have really had a strong effect in other people's lives are people that, practice faith, that believe in faith. But also what that does, it also allows the electromagnetic field of the heart to actually hold a higher frequency, to allow the person on the other end to be able to process what they need to process with a lot more clarity and ease and all that stuff. But I was then looking into, just all this other stuff. It's like, people who allow them to believe in themselves. even if it's just believing in themselves, it is faith. And it is faith that's actually being reignited on the planet right now. And so when we get into this space of believing more and trusting more and experiencing faith and what miracles are, we actually are able to embody that. We're able to experience that and take it into our own lives, to where, you know, as back at that Imhotep, I forget which temple it was, but, and I should share this with everybody, but when you want to become, or when somebody is to become a high priest, you have to jump in this, you know, maybe a 2-foot wide hole in the ground. And what these initiates are being told is that there's a pit of crocodiles and water underneath. And in order to become a high priest, you have to jump in and survive. And what they don't realize is that if they jump in, they realize it's just a toy crocodile down there. And but in knowing that these different resistances, these different aspects of our programming, of, you know, things that are just differently vibrationally, what we're used to, moving past those and knowing it's just a toy crocodile, you know, and how do we live that way and embody life in that way, knowing that the miracles are really just you tapping into your own self and moving past any construct of programming that has been taught to you, because everything inherently has no meaning until we learn and program to give it meaning. So then, yes, it becomes, oh, hey, something's tapping on the door saying, wake up, this isn't working for you, you know, and we got to go, oh, I have to believe in myself. I have to believe in myself. And then not only that, tapping into the fact that the universe wants us to believe in ourselves more than we think we can. So what often I tell people is that, you know, oh, here's 5 different opportunities. Go for the one that's going to teach you the most, stretch you the most, and bring you the most joy. There's nothing in there about money. Nothing in there about money. Then I say there's, you know, when you do that, that is that empowerment, that faith, that miraculous inspiration within yourself, so you can carry that tune and create that ripple effect throughout your community. And so people can turn their heads and go, what are they doing? And it's like this, you know, the soul can't turn that off. The hearts within humanity cannot turn off that aspect of inspiration when somebody taps into, you know, doing something really profound and amazing for themselves. And, you know, and it, you know, oftentimes I look at myself, I'm like, man, in the past I used to go, man, why am I such a martyr? Ugh. You know, but I realize, oh, wait, this is like one of the greatest gifts that I could have chosen to be a part of, is going, oh God, you mean I just have to do that? Okay, toy crocodile. Oh, bing! But, you know, the illusionary aspect of what our minds...
I found it!
Right? But then also, you know, and then also going into the things that suppress us, the news and the different frequencies that hold us into being in a limited space, and realizing that turn off your news. You know, limit your Facebook time. It's not always the most positive stuff on there either. I know that you unplug quite often. I can't. And what I have to do is I'm like, okay, meditate more. So sometimes, like, I'll spend an hour and a half at least every day meditating, clearing myself, you know, but it's a process. So I'm also, you know, going through this of let's refine, limit yourself to this much time, you know, do these things that are only self, you know, enhancing rather than, you know, depleting, and realizing what is depleting. You know, don't allow yourself to think, oh, I'm better than that negativity. I'm like, no, it's still it's like still
that, yeah.
Still working with you, even though you think you're better than it, you know.
That's a good point, because it's kind of, how can I put this? delving through the deepest recesses of the human psyche is one of the things that Metatron really enjoys. I don't know why I'm laughing, but he loves to get in there and spring clean it all. And because you can't carry over that which is laid dense. It's like we're being spring cleaned from the inside out. But what's happening is they're just saying about sickness and disease and disharmony and things, but our emotions, our thought processes are what keep us often too grounded, where we should be able to lift a little bit higher within our own being. So if you come and do this work, the Ascension path, every aspect of the vibrational the vibration within the vessel is looked at, because that's all tagged into thoughts, how you feel about yourself, how you view the world. Because this is organic, so it's going to, not this particular jumper, although it probably is, but this holds and sucks on and holds things and retains things, and we want to be getting rid of all that, Let the old human be although it's got us to a point, be a memory now as we move into being transparent. It's can't carry, I think that's what a lot of light workers pick up on, is the carrying aspect, as opposed to density, all these things. We pick up on people carry, and don't want you to be carrying anymore, especially not in here. It's not don't carry in, and don't repress yourself in there either, because this is what runs the motor, let it. Got to be joyful, haven't you? You can't be any other. Well, you can if you choose. We all can. A couple of days ago, I had this day where I just had no thing going on, and I was like, just felt really balanced and aligned and empty, and it was great. It was like, my husband was like, have you taken something because you're really pleasant today? I just felt totally zapped with this gorgeous essence that I realized the importance of not carrying. Why carry? Because it just keeps us in a certain place, which I guess those that are assisting us want us to be able to wake up to our divine potential.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny, as you were speaking, my mom sent me a text message saying, "My first snow angel."
Oh.
Yeah, that was so nice. It's very symbolic in a lot of ways, and I love that. And so it was really cool how that just kind of came in. I'm all, oh, it's everywhere right now. Cool. Also, I know that a lot of people are really hungry in learning about Metatron. Would you like to talk about that for a moment?
Very powerful. Highly transformational. Nothing can hide, and so I'm probably just putting too much out there, but in one go, but not able to hide things. Very magnetic. My hands are tingling as I'm saying that. He wants it, but like a child, he wants us to be like a child and have that joy and feel that energy running through us unhindered, but very, very powerful. There's no messing, because it's divine. The Metatron's cube, I'm just looking at it on the wall, just gazed over it. Everything's divinely structured, so if anything's come out of its alignment, then of course it's going to be brought back into its proper place. And so the work we're doing with Metatron, with Metatronia, for example, we are going to be looking at bringing you back into your divine design. So it's extremely eye-opening in the aspect of how swiftly we can shift into our alignment. And then the other part of the human wants to know, well, what is he here to do? And I have to say that this divine alignment is key to the evolution of humanity. If you want to delve into that deeper, then go ahead. But ultimately, we have to get some order. I know there has to be chaos and to have order, but the world needs a bit of order like now in many, many areas. profoundly working with the human consciousness. And we're not playing here. This is, I'm not trying to sell myself, because I don't do that. I don't do this for the money, and it's not where I come from. I do it so that other people can experience these frequencies above what we understand as reality. For them to just feel, if I was to die tomorrow, it would be glorious to know that people actually are beginning to understand that Metatron exists and he's here to help the children, you know, that to feel as children and to move back into that joyful essence of being. Very powerful, though, extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being a bit personal here, when this work started, it's like, you're going to be working with Metatron. I didn't have a clue who that was or what it was. And I didn't. I said to the lady that gave me this reading once, well, what is Metatron? I had no clue. It could have been a car. I had no, just giggling there because it's to do with the vessel, but anyway. And 10 years on nearly, I understand him now as an aspect of source that is here to assist us. We're not playing. It's not a game. And it will grow, you know, when I'm long gone, this will still grow and flower and blossom into helping humanity to awaken. It's quite magical, quite magical. I can't do it justice with what I say because I feel it as a vibration, so I don't want to box it in too much, but basically it's here to help us to experience all that we are through those divine energies that are very, very, they show me the fire again, very, you know, let's raise you up out of the ashes and sense everything that you are. Everything that you are. But most of the work, as I mentioned earlier on in this chat, this lovely chat, we're conduits. So we become kind of like the middle person that is between the receiver and the aspect of source that's coming through, orchestrated by Metatron. So he knows your story. It's not delving too privately into a person, but your vibration, he knows your signature. So he's going to bring you back into those Metatron cube again. We're bringing that into your divine geometry. Do you not want to live to experience all that you are in this lifetime? I certainly do. I certainly want to experience what am I capable of.
Yeah.
And that's what he's helping us with. That's what he's helping us with.
Oh, dreams and owning them and making them reality.
So I want a new Land Rover. Okay, Metatron, I want a new, or a Range Rover would be good. A blue one.
Well, and I'm like, Metatron, I want to help change the entire medical system upon planet Earth.
That's coming. That's coming.
Yeah.
That is being worked on.
Yeah. It's yeah.
That has to happen. That is absolutely has to happen.
I think it's a system that not a lot of, you don't hear people, you hear people talking about it, but I don't hear anybody just going like, this isn't okay, you know, like, you know, but I think it has to happen in a different way. But it's an integration, and I'm seeing it integrate and change and shift. And I know that, you know, personally, I'm trying to take a lot of the information that I've created to my next step in what I'm trying to do is take this information to different researchers, Heart Math Institute, and different aspects of that to go, oh, wait, here's this thing, you know, how do we make it available to the, you know, the rest of the world, to allow people to work with the body systems, the entirety, you know, not just limiting to, oh, mind and body, which is what most of different wellness things focus on, but integrating the heart and also the subconscious mind and integrating all of that aspect, also your environment, and, you know, really just taking this into, there's all these different things. We are energetic beings and we're always perceiving things, but we perceive things through the programming of what we have been taught to give things meaning to. So, and of course,
for humanity to hand over to a higher divine order, that's
yeah.
That's another conversation for another time. Maybe.
Right?
That's like, that is what will come. Either you move on board or it's going to come in like a rocket ball. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I need to go take care of some things personally, but I'm glad that we finally connected, and we should do this again and figure out maybe if there's another way to do it. But I think the way that obviously it happened the way it was supposed to happen. And so we will be downloading this to YouTube so you can share it as well. But Tammy, can you tell everyone how they can find you or reach you if they need to or want to?
Maybe he's off Facebook for a bit. I'm joking. My work is, you'll find me on metatronia.com. There's a lot of stuff on there, a lot of information. Have a browse, have a look, and if you're drawn to anything, then give me a call or message me. But yeah,
beautiful. And
it depends where people are. But yeah, you do the same, Danny. I mean, you're one of our sort of founders, so yeah, whatever's on my site, Danny offers the same sort of stuff. So
and it's what was it? What else was I going to say about that? If you'd like to share this video for those who are watching, if you'd like to share this video with people, if it helped you in any way, please feel free. Please subscribe. I don't know do you have a YouTube channel, Tammy?
I do, but I don't use it very much because I'm not too out there. But we have events coming up. They're all on my website. We have meditation groups, light coaching one-on-one, which I love doing. Yeah, it's all on there. But you won't find me too out there social. That's probably something I'm moving into, but I still like to work within my sort of boundaries. If anything, earlier today is to go by, we'll leave Facebook.
I'm kind of a little bit more the loud mouth.
No, it's not. That's your resonance. This is the uniqueness of people, you see. You're very eloquent with how you speak and your wisdom. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
This has been fun, though. Thank you.
Yes, it has been fun. And I will also, when this is downloaded to YouTube, all the links will be down below. And if you could subscribe, share within your communities, you can find me at theepichuman.com. It's not about me saying I'm the shit. This is actually about you moving into acknowledging the epic humans that we are. And here's the process of how to do it. And here's the different tools and avenues that you can take to actually activating yourself into becoming your potential and to really, really embodying that. So theepichuman.com, and you can also find me on Instagram, and Tammy's on Instagram as well. So,
ooh, Instagram. I love Instagram.
I know, it's fun. And I'm the Danny Picard, and Tammy is Tammy Majchrzak.
Yeah.
Did I finally pronounce it accurately?
Yeah. Do you want me to spell it? No. Yeah, you'll find me. You
find
can find it at the Metatron as well, but you'll find me.
Yeah, so Tammy is in Yorkshire, England, and I'm in Portland, Oregon. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Tammy. Always a pleasure. And I will talk to you soon, I'm sure. All right.
Love to everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.